Okay, welcome back to another episode of the Are You Strong show. Where do you hear the accolades of this young woman who I have on the show today? And it's really incredible. But I'm going to start back in her college days at Purdue, where she was a swimmer. And these accolades, I had to cut these accolades down a little bit just for essence of time. But excuse me, a three-time NCAA championship qualifier, honorable mention All-American, three-time academic All Big Ten, and that's so important, especially in today's world. The academic side of athletes, where I don't think there's enough emphasis there. A CSCAA All Academic honoree, and this is pretty cool. First swimmer in Purdue history to break 23 seconds in the 50 freestyle, which that means just going all out crazy swimming, right? And she graduated from Purdue University. Goes on to start her coaching career, which, wait till you hear this. Texas A&M first as an assistant, helped the women's program earn multiple NCAA top 10 finishes. Assistant at University of Arizona, helping the program finish top five nationally in NCAA championships, but then goes on to run the team at Stanford. I don't think it gets any bigger swimming than Stanford. Um, Three consecutive NCAA national championships. It's tough just to win one. Seven Pac-12 championships, and this is really cool. Recruited Katie Ledecky. Like that. That name doesn't get any bigger in swimming, and helped develop 18 relay national champions and 30 individual national champions, which is incredible numbers. But then transitions into her own world, her own business as an executive leadership coach, where she specializes in leadership development, culture building, confidence, accountability, and this is what I thought was cool, burnout prevention. Welcome to the show, Tracy Slusser.
Thank you so much for having me, Jeff, and thank you for walking me down.
Memory
Um,
lane, huh?
yeah, no, it feels good to have all those memories brought up. It was a
What
great
what
time.
an what an accomplishment. And again, as I said before, I had to cut that down, from all the things that you've accomplished. But, I have a lot of things to ask you and talk about today, and I can't wait to dive in all over the pool, right?
Mhm.
But before I get into that, do me a favor. Why don't you tell the audience just a little bit about yourself, and we'll kind of roll from there.
Well, one, I appreciate you making the space. I love what you're doing with people, putting people's stories out there in this world when it comes to sport and how it impacts the paths we all take.
Yeah.
I love that you paused on my story around the academic piece because for me, that's where my kind of, I guess, love story with sport started. Is I grew up with a learning disability and school was really difficult, really,
Okay.
really difficult. It was not a fun place to be. And it was probably around junior high when I discovered sport, and basketball was one of my first sports, and then went to swimming and even ran track. And this was the place that I found confidence. This was the place that I found belonging. This was a place that I found a version of me that was respected by their peers,
Yeah.
that felt really excited to show up every day. And that foundation and relationship with sport just continued to grow as I moved into high school and getting recruited. And my proudest accolades from college are the academic All-Americans. Being able to have a learning disability and compete at the highest level was something that was really, really special to me and
Yeah.
set the foundation for resilience and working through things. So it was really important.
But what I don't think, and I hate to say the word average, right? But the typical student, the typical person doesn't understand one, how hard it is just to go to college with a learning disability.
Mhm.
Two, how hard it is to go to college and compete at that level of athletics. And three, how hard it is to get there and be an academic All-American. How do you do that?
Yeah, I fumbled it freshman year. I absolutely fumbled it, and I learned. Right, it's learn or learn, and I can't say enough about Purdue and the academic supports that we had there. It was like you had to try to fail, and they were not gonna let me go down. So yeah, freshman year definitely was a learning experience, but got on track by sophomore and junior year, and ended up graduating Purdue with honors. So something I'm
And
really
that's a
really
tough
proud of.
school. That's just that's no rank and
Yeah.
file school either.
Yeah, no, it was, but the athletic department really rallied around student athletes,
Yeah,
and we were proud to show up in class and be
yeah,
present and sit in the front row. So this was a part of our identity just as much as the sport was.
yeah. And it wasn't that long ago, right? If I go back to my years, which is a lot longer, uh, academics and athletics, it almost wasn't cool to be smart and on a team.
Yeah,
And when we found a guy or a girl who was really smart and an athlete, you're like, what's wrong with them? Are they really putting their all into their game?
yeah.
Where now it's in vogue to be super smart and super athletic.
It's habits, and these
Yeah,
habits translate, right?
yeah,
Discipline translates to all areas of your
yeah,
life. And we would set academic goals just like we would set the goals we wanted to be as a team.
yeah.
And we held each other up and held each other accountable to those along the way.
That's awesome. So I have a ton of questions, and we're going to bounce around a little bit, but let's
Yeah.
go backwards a little bit in time. And let's talk about, well, you said you have the learning disability,
Hmm.
but then you're getting recruited to go swim. What was that process like? Was it stressful? Was your family involved? Were you kind of out on an island by yourself? And if you could look at today's world compared to when you were being recruited, like how is that different?
Uh, I was what we call a diamond in the rough. I was a three-sport athlete coming out of high school. I swam in the fall, I played basketball in the winter, and I ran track in the spring. Um, I didn't know how good I was in the pool because I never competed nationally. It was my high school coach that started sending out letters once he saw my times and how it compared to what was going on across the country. And then the letters started to pour in. And I kind of just took it as like, oh, this is cool. I didn't realize that this could actually turn into getting offered a full scholarship to go swim for 4 years. So I went in eyes wide open at the same time, completely oblivious, which was probably great for me. I was like, oh, okay, great. Keep going. They want
Yeah.
to talk to me. Um, but learned quickly that this could really be an opportunity for me to take myself academically to the next level. And I had never focused on swimming year round. And
Hmm.
that excited me. Like, what would it be like to really go all in on this? I had a ton of success at the Wisconsin State meet, but what did that look like when I went out and took that next step up? So for me, it may be a little different because I definitely was very green, um, but definitely knew quickly that this was going to be a great opportunity that I needed to take advantage of.
Now, how did you know it was going to be swimming versus track or
Ooh,
basketball?
good question. Um, I knew I had a ton of potential in swimming because I knew the sport most people swam year round, and I really only was all in on swimming in the high school season. And so I just felt like if I could go all in here, the upside would be that much greater. Um, Financially, my parents would not be able to send me to a school like Purdue without the scholarship,
Yeah.
and I was getting great scholarship offers. And so this just all around was like, okay, what could happen athletically and then the opportunity it created for me academically. It's
Yeah.
the doors were open. I couldn't not walk through.
Now, did you have any fear, like you said, the disability?
Hmm.
Did emotionally affect you? Like, hey, I'm going into a school, and again, Purdue, major
Yeah.
academics. Were you
Yep.
like, how am I going to handle this?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the self-talk, the self-doubt, but
Yeah.
I'd live with that every single day.
Yeah.
Like that started in third grade when I was diagnosed, and my mother fought to have me held back so that I could try to catch up. So I knew that feeling well. I now look at it as like probably the thing that creates the superpower for me is like I feel the uncomfortable and
Yeah.
I'm like, let's go. And so, yes, and I was very open about it at that time. And so I was asking for help. I very quickly was like, this is what I can do. This is what I struggle with. Who can help me? And I wasn't afraid to have that conversation up front. I wasn't afraid to go talk to professors. Um, I had the academic support at the academic center. I set up the tutors in advance. Both of my coaches knew exactly where I was going to struggle and what things would look like. So it was a yes, I felt all those things. And that was a normal feeling for me.
Yeah. Now, were there other schools recruiting you too that were as big as Purdue?
Yes. Yeah. I was heavily recruited in the Big Ten.
Okay.
I took recruiting trips to Wisconsin, Indiana, Michigan State, Purdue, and then I also looked at Iowa.
Okay. Now, how did Purdue get to the top of the list? Was it a money
Uh,
thing? Was it a coaching thing? A culture thing?
it definitely had to do with money because of my family's situation at the
Yeah.
time. Um, the coaches, I connected with the coaches. I felt like Kathy Rediger and Dar Rini, they saw me first and then
Yeah.
the swimmer. And I felt like I could go and completely be myself and swim. And that was really, really important to me that they saw me for more than just what I could bring to the team.
Okay. So, knowing your experience, what advice can you give to the young athletes coming out of school now, which is a whole nother game? NIL, social media, pressure, transfer portal.
Ugh,
What do you tell them now?
yeah. Find your ground. Know who you are. Talk to the people that know you well. Your coaches, your parents. Um, being a big fish in a little pond or a big fish or a small fish in a big pond, right? Like knowing where you're going to thrive and using the people that know you really well around you to
Right.
help you make that decision. Because it is a lot. There's a lot coming in a lot of different directions, and you have agency and you have choice, and you've worked your butt off to get to this position to be
Yeah.
here. Like you're in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
So take your time and ask the people that are important to you to help you out.
Yeah. And how do you think about the high school kids today, the seniors, man,
Hmm.
they are up against like a steep climb.
Yeah.
The transfer portal is literally taking away the high school senior,
Yep.
and now you really got to be the best of the best to
Yeah.
get that deal.
Yeah.
So how do you think the kids dealing with that, how should they handle that type of pressure?
Just keep showing up.
Yeah.
Keep sending the emails. Keep doing the thing that you love to do. And trust that you're going to land where you need to land. Now that the transfer portal is open, right? Like where you first land may not be where you last land, and the
Yeah.
opportunities might be a little bit further ahead. But stay focused on what you're doing day to day and the passion you have for the sport.
The rest will take care of itself,
Yeah.
right? So how about, you show up to Purdue, right? You're
Hmm.
a freshman, you're 18,
Yeah.
right? So I always talk about the emotional adjustment. You show up as an 18-year-old young woman, you're still trying to figure out life, let alone school and swimming and Big Ten sports. Like, what was your kind of emotional transition to when you go from high school, leaving home, now you're in this room of strangers?
Yeah.
How was that emotional adjustment for you?
Oof. I don't know if I've ever been asked that question, and it feels so long ago. Um, I feel like I was ready. I was ready to surround myself with other athletes that took their sports as seriously. I had an awesome experience in high school and loved my friends, but I was ready to take that next step with my sport. And so I just went all in, was excited to meet athletes from all different sports, um, connect with people on my team. Yeah, Purdue had this one. So I come from a small town, and Purdue had this way of like, yes, it's a Big Ten school and there's 40,000 students there, but it still felt small town. Like the whole town shut down for
Yeah.
football games, and everywhere you went, it was Purdue. And there was this sense when you're a student athlete that like you're a part of
Oh
something.
yeah. It's like a
And
belonging.
so, yeah, so it really gave me probably more confidence than I deserved as a freshman. But it helped me a lot through that transition of kind of being on my own for the first time away from home.
Now, when did you realize you belonged there? Like, was it right away, or like did you get right into the pool and start winning, or did it take a little
Oh,
while?
funny. I love that you just asked that. So I thought I was hot shit. I'm not gonna lie. I never really lost a race in high school. And so I come in my first meet as a college athlete, and I'm like, okay, I feel good. I'm, a highly recruited like sprinter, 50 free, and where it's like the Indiana Invitational, and so it's all schools from Indiana, Ball State, uh, Notre Dame, smaller schools from Indiana, and Purdue and Notre Dame were the bigger schools there. And I had no idea. I had no idea who was in the lane next to me. I didn't really care. I swim fast,
Yeah.
I win, that's what I do. And 50 free is down and back. So I'm up there, Purdue cap on for the first time, and I dive in, I'm feeling good. I do my flip turn, I push off, and I see the feet of the person next to me.
Oh,
It's Carrie Nixon. She swam for Notre Dame. I should have known. She's an NCAA qualifier, NCAA scorer in the 50 free, and I got my butt kicked, and it was perfect. It was exactly what I needed to bring myself down to reality
yeah.
of this is the next level. So, did I belong right away? Yes. And I knew it was another level for me. Like there was definitely room to grow and learn and pull back and see what was next.
That's a cool story. Now, after that meet, what did you do different? Did you, hey, how much harder can you work?
Yeah. Well, for me, there was a lot of details. I never swam year round. And
Yeah.
so there were so many little like technical things with my stroke, my flip turn. And in the 50, it is like you've got to be on every single one of those from the start to the
Yeah.
first stroke to the end of the wall. You know what I mean? Like everything has
Yeah.
to be so precise. Um, and so that's what I dove into. The turn of my hand, the how high was my elbow, how many kicks was I doing off the wall? Like I ate that stuff up.
Yeah.
And then it was, trying to push myself training wise. Most of my teammates came in swimming year round, so they had a much larger training base than I did. My coaches did a wonderful job of stepping me into that and exposing me to it. Not always an easy task for them. But I really dove in on the details of what I was doing.
Cool. So when did you get the bug to be a coach?
I, because of my relationship with sport and because of how it was so foundational and who I am and the impact that my coaches had on me, that was the first place that someone looked at me and made me feel that I was valued. Not
Yeah.
that teachers didn't, but that place at school, because I was so difficult and things were so crunchy in the classroom, coaches were always that person for me. And so I kind of went into college thinking I would go in that direction. I tried a couple different things. I did an internship with nutrition department and took notes for them and some nutrition calls. I did a program in Purdue Life Wellness where I actually taught a class to Purdue employees about how to be more healthy and meal plan, because I thought maybe I'd go into the health and wellness space.
Yeah.
And I kept getting pulled back into coaching. And the whole time I'm like, in the summers, I'm coaching summer league, I'm doing lessons, I'm coaching at the country club. And this was always running in the background. And when I looked up, I was like, this doesn't feel like work. And this other stuff that I was exploring did. That felt like work. The coaching never did. And so my last year of my degree, I needed to do a full year internship to qualify for my degree. And so my advisor was like, if you want to coach, go talk to your coaches. Go see if you can be a volunteer and we'll create the internship. And so that's what we did. So my college coaches became my bosses, and I did an entire year internship as a volunteer assistant coach at Purdue.
While
So
you were on the team.
I just finished. So I had finished
Okay.
my 4 years, and then
Okay.
this was my fifth year where I was finishing up some classes, took some graduate level classes. Um, and so even that, like they gave me the tools, the look behind the curtain. I remember, I got to look at all these different swimsuit contracts and have to like do pros and cons and which one do we want to take as a team. What it was like to strategize a weekly practice cycle, to recruiting, to the balance was these were my teammates,
Yeah.
right? And now I'm on the other side. And so even that relationship piece of like feeling out, okay, maybe I'm just filling water bottles and that's okay,
Yeah.
right? Um, so it was a really great experience and it just solidified that
Yeah.
like I want to do this and I'm good at this.
Yeah. Now, how did your teammates take to that? Now you were in the pool with them. Now you're a coach of them.
You know what? I really feel like I did a good job of not trying to be too coachy
Yeah.
and really just looking at this and I still look at this. This is a service industry,
Yeah.
so being there when I felt like they needed it, waiting for them to ask at times,
Yeah.
and not trying to overstep or
Yeah.
overcoach at any point.
So how about this thought of like we all face mental challenges, right? So you were able to be in the pool on the team. What kind of things did you face mentally for those 4 years? One, two-part question. Then
Mhm.
the other side, now as an assistant coach there, now you get to watch some of these kids deal with something maybe you dealt with. And how did you handle that? Were you able to
Mm,
identify it, seeing from the
yeah,
other side now? How did that
yeah.
work out?
The the hardest part for me of swimming at the collegiate level was the day in, day out training cycle. Like
Yeah,
I love to race. I love to win. That was why I showed up. And so most of what you're doing in swimming is training.
yeah.
And so the mental grind for me of that was really difficult. But when it was race day, I was ready to go.
It's go
So
time.
that piece of the puzzle, being able to see in a workout where the struggle comes from, being able to anticipate, like, okay, hey, there's 6 rounds of this, and I know around 4, like around six still feels really far away, right? And so being
Yeah,
able to anticipate some of those things and understand what it's like to be in the middle of that, um, was helpful. But I still remember uh, the day I woke up and my alarm went off, and I was getting up to be a swim coach versus an athlete.
yeah,
And it was like I didn't have to be selfish anymore. Like when I was an athlete, I had to like, okay, what do I need? What do I feel?
yeah.
Okay, I need to stretch. I
Right.
need to drink water. I need to eat this for breakfast. Da, 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 da. And all of a sudden I woke up and I was like, I don't have to think about.
Yeah,
I get to just go serve and get to be here for people. And that was a different energy for me that I was so excited about,
yeah,
to just show up and be curious about all the other athletes and what their needs were and how I could be of service of them as their
yeah.
coach.
Now, were you able to identify, some of the kids that might have been struggling? Not just physically in the pool and
Yeah,
training, but like mentally, emotionally, school pressures. Could you see that now as a coach?
absolutely. Like it's leaning into conversations and relationships. It's asking questions. It's noticing someone's eyes drop in a team meeting and coming over and saying, "Hey, what's going on? Are you okay?" Like,
Yeah,
um, it's picking up on those little things. And because I was not the head coach, right? I wasn't even the assistant coach. I was, a volunteer assistant. So I got to stand back a little bit more and observe and kind of lean in places. And so I learned a lot. I learned a
yeah.
lot from that position.
It's great. So how do you like the mental challenges athletes face? It's incredible,
Hmm.
right? But if I go back a long time ago, like you didn't talk about it. You didn't bring it up
Yeah.
for fear of, hey, if the coach might think I'm not whatever,
Yeah.
and they might think you're not prepared, you're not, ready, you shouldn't be on the field, in the pool, whatever. But now today it's different. It's
Hmm.
more open, you
Hmm.
know, and if you look at the mental side of the game, how much has that changed over time, and how much more open is it today?
Oh, it's huge. I remember thinking that like if I felt something negative, that was my problem,
Right.
right? Or if something didn't land right, that I did something wrong, right? Not that these are normal things to go through when you're asking yourself to be at your best all the time. And now realizing that having these open conversations and talking about confidence and how do you get it from a grounded place, it's dealing with the fact that you might have that voice in your head that says you can't,
Yeah.
right? And that's okay. How can we do it anyway? And having that be a more open dialogue. It showed up as an athlete for me, and I had that negative self-talk and I harnessed it really well. Um,
How did you get out of that? How did you get out of the negative self? That's so hard.
okay, well, this jumps because I carried it with me
Okay.
for way longer than I'd like to admit. And for so long, I thought it was the engine. I thought it was a lot of the reason I was successful, and had to really do some work to separate from that. And realizing now, like, no, I'm the engine. I'm the one that
Yeah.
was resilient through all these things. Um, but it burned hot and it burned fast and it burned quick and it can lead to burnout. That's for sure.
Mm. But you used the word separate.
Yeah.
How can an athlete separate from that? What do they have to do?
When you ask me that question, the first thing that comes to mind is name it. Don't be afraid of it.
Okay.
Bring it out. Look at it. What does it feel like? Because I think for so long we're afraid of it. We're like, "Ooh, I heard that in my
Suppress
push it
it.
down, push it down, push
Yeah.
it down, push it down." And it doesn't go anywhere if we do that. So if we can speak to it, if we can bring it out loud, if we can, okay, this is coming, right? I'm about to step into a really stressful situation. It's uncertain.
Yeah.
I really am passionate about it. So it's going to put a lot of pressure on me, both externally and internally. And so if I can say, okay, I know this negative voice is coming.
Yeah.
What do I want to do about it? All right, I hear you. And I'm going to choose to do this anyway. Um, and so I think naming it is
Yeah.
really huge in the process.
How about anxiety?
Mm.
I mean, you know, people, hey, pregame jitters. Is it pregame jitters? Is it anxiety?
Yeah.
Some kids get so worked up
Yeah.
before a game where they can't function.
Yeah. I mean, anxiety is a part of life. We're never going to
Yeah.
get rid of it. And then there's, obviously anxiety disorders where is
Yeah.
anxiety preventing you from doing what you want to do?
Right.
But we need it. It just tells us we care. It literally
Yeah.
is a physiological response to
Yeah.
something that we really, really care about.
Yeah.
And so it's developing the relationship with it and making sure, if it's on a bell curve, that like,
Yeah.
here's my sweet spot,
Yeah.
right? How can I have some tools that if I feel myself start to slide down, what are some of the tools that I can use to kind of bring back to my sweet spot?
Yeah. I mean, I used to get so nervous before I played football in college. I used to get so nervous.
Mhm.
And it's funny, people would like like my hands would be shaking, like I'm just this nervous
Yeah,
energy, and I wouldn't even realize I'm doing it. And I'm like, and somebody said, listen, if you're not nervous, you're not normal,
yeah, yeah,
and then when I heard that, I'm like, okay, that
yeah.
kind of makes me feel okay.
Well, and if you're not nervous, you don't care enough,
Yeah.
right? Um, it reminds me, I totally forgot, like, this was a big part of it. So I would get nervous and have negative self-talk, but then right before the blocks, I had a routine. So talk about a tool. And I don't remember anyone teaching me this at the same time. Like, yeah, I don't know exactly where this came from. Internally, I would tell myself when I was behind the blocks, no matter who I was racing against, you heard my experience of my first race in college, right? Like,
Yeah.
she was definitely way faster than I was, and I was completely oblivious. But I knew the best version of me behind the blocks was somebody who thought they were the fastest person in the pool. So in my head, I would say, you're the fastest person in the pool, prove me wrong. Nobody knew I said that. But I
Hmm.
knew that was the version of me that needed to show up behind the blocks to do the thing that I was capable of doing. Now, did I win every race? Absolutely not. But that's the mentality I had to have in that
Yeah.
moment to swim at my best.
Yeah.
And so the negative self-talk was there. And then I had this like persona I turned into when I was behind the blocks.
Yeah. Now, were you one of the swimmers that you're slapping your thighs, banging your arms,
I
all that
was
kind of
I
stuff?
was so like I mean I splashed water, I spit
Yeah.
water like like LeBron James does
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
oh I was so funny because I had to turn into it. I had to
Yeah.
be what I was telling myself I was,
Yeah.
which was I was the fastest person in the pool,
You
prove
got to
me
turn
wrong.
into Superwoman.
Yep.
That's great.
But no one needed to know that. That
Yeah.
was me for me.
Yeah.
Um, so I had an awesome career and loved every minute of it. Got to swim on the relays. Um, my last meet was NCAA's at my home pool in front of my parents and my
Oh,
family,
wow.
and uh, yeah, it was a storybook.
That had to be an emotional day.
It was a storybook. It was awesome.
Yeah. That's great. Well, storybook. How about role models? What kind of role models, did you have, that you follow and maybe emulate today?
Yeah, my coaches,
Yeah.
the people that saw something in me before I saw it, held me accountable even when I was uncomfortable.
Hmm.
Um, those are the people that when I think about who are the shoulders that I stand on today, absolutely are those coaches that saw things in me and instilled work ethic. And, I think of my college coach who, um, gosh, as an athlete, I'm sure she was pulling her hair out trying to get me to push harder in a practice environment. And I love her for it. I love her for it. So,
Yeah,
um, definitely my coaches.
good. So you said accountability.
Mhm.
You know, the athletes today, man, I think they look, that's so negative to them. It's,
Mm,
it's like it's a negative word. I'm like, I think if a coach doesn't hold you accountable, they don't really care that much.
that's what if someone is holding you accountable,
They care.
lucky you.
Yeah. You
Lucky
know,
you.
and if you don't hold yourself accountable, you know, you shouldn't count on your coach to hold you accountable.
Yeah.
But when they do, you know, like you think about some of the athletes, like, well, my coach never talks to me. And
Mm,
they're like, why not? You know, then you got the other athletes, man, my coach talks to me too much. He wants to, you
yeah,
know, obviously there's got to be a balance. But I'd rather be the athlete where the coach is always on me, you know, because
absolutely.
I think when the coach is on you, they see something you don't see,
Yeah.
right?
Feedback and account and having somebody hold you accountable is such a gift.
Yeah.
It's such a gift. And sport creates that environment for it. And sometimes the coach is the one that has to hold it before you can hold it yourself.
Yeah.
And that's where a culture of a team gets built. And right, can we
Hmm.
as a team hold each other accountable? And what are the standards to that? Um, yeah, I think it's such a gift.
That's great. So your coaching career, you didn't decide, hey, I'm going to go coach at some D3 school. You know, you dive right in, Texas A&M. What kind of
Yeah.
challenges did you face there? I mean, you're a young woman right out of college. Here we go. And again, no disrespect to D3, but you go to big time school, first job, bunch of big time swimmers. You're a young woman. How did you handle that transition?
I talk about imposter syndrome, right? Like it was like, whoa, man. Like, but I think the thing that I grounded myself in was I didn't have to be anything I wasn't. I was new. I wasn't going to try to be a seasoned coach when I wasn't that yet. And I felt really confident in my organization skills and my people skills from a recruiting standpoint. The X's and O's of coaching, I needed to learn a ton. And so when I was interviewing, I was looking at Pacific University, uh, Southern Illinois, and Texas A&M. And my college coach had incredible connections. And so she was able to speak to my strengths, talk to these coaches, and really figure out what they needed. And so that was really helpful along my journey. But as I was looking at these three different opportunities, um, one of them was going to give me like, you have the keys to the car, you're driving this thing from the day you step on the pool deck to all the way to the championship meet. I didn't know yet. I couldn't look an athlete in the eye and say, I got you from a training aspect. So that was like, okay, hold on. And then the Texas A&M opportunity, Steve Boltman ran the show from an X's and O's, and he was an Olympic coach. He had done it. They had been building that program. He needed someone to run everything else, run recruiting, run travel, run organization, and I could do that stuff like the back of my hand.
Okay.
So here was an opportunity that fit my strengths at the time. I didn't have to go and perform as this coach that knew all the things. I could really be good at the things I was good at. And so it was a really good match. And I got to show up at A&M, learn under one of the best coaches of all time. And he's such a teacher, right? So I got to stand over his shoulder and learn how he did things, why he did things. Now I'm asking better questions. Now I'm able to serve the athletes in a better way.
Yeah.
Got to step into more responsibility from the X's and O's side. Well, I was kicking butt and recruiting, staying really organized, making sure the team was well cared for, building on culture. Those were all
Yeah.
things that were in my wheelhouse. So it's a yes and as far as like the caliber of school. It was also the what the responsibility was. And I didn't
Yeah.
want to pretend like I was something I wasn't. I wanted to be able to
Yeah.
have the runway to grow into it.
Yeah.
And Texas A&M was absolutely that spot. And Steve as a mentor and a teacher, I couldn't ask for a better first 5 years of my college coaching career.
So here's a question that's going on in my mind is you're one of the best swimmers in the country while you're in college, right?
I no.
Well, you were really good,
I was very good. I was a very good swimmer, but there was definitely another level
but
absolutely above me.
but still at Purdue,
Yeah.
you're really good.
Yep.
And what made you think based on your experience and all the accolades, that you weren't ready to coach the kids yet?
Well, there's the technical side of it. I
Okay.
didn't know how to write a workout from top to bottom. I
All
didn't
right.
know a training cycle from the physiological standpoint, and that's the
Okay.
piece of it. I can coach people. I can talk to people, right? I can give me a workout. I can like, all right, let's go. Here we go. Here we
Yeah.
need to go fast. Here's where, take the rest. All
Yep.
right, we need to be better on the next one. Like that. But I'm the X's and O's part.
Yeah.
I needed to pull back and just own it and learn. And
Yep.
Steve made that place really, really safe for me to do that.
Good.
And so it was a great first stop on my coaching career.
Cool. Well, what motivated you to move on to Arizona?
I like learned as much as I could from that place, and growth is a core value of mine.
Sure.
And had an awesome conversation with Steve that the fall before I left, saying like, okay, here's what I'm thinking, and he's like, well, I think you're ready to be a head coach. And I was like, I want to learn more. Like, I know what this looks like. I still wanted to learn more. And the Arizona opportunity came up. It was a combined program. At that time, I was coaching Texas A&M. It was a single gender program. So I was just coaching women.
Okay.
The Arizona program would allow me to be on a larger staff, so learn from other coaches, be a part of a bigger team from a staff perspective, and then coach both men and women. And this was 2011 and into 2012 Olympics.
Hmm.
And they also had, so we had, 25 women, 25 men, and then there were 25 pros training for the Olympic trials in
Mm.
2012. So there were 75 athletes on that pool deck. And it was like a kid in a candy store
Yeah.
for a coach,
The
right?
energy there must have been crazy.
Everybody wanted to be coached.
Yeah.
Us as a staff, we came in and it was like, what do you know? What do you know? What are your strengths? Like, hey, let's go. Let's really collaborate and do this. And so it was an awesome environment to step into and really learn what it was like to coach men, what is it like to coach really elite athletes. Rick DeMont was a huge mentor for me there, and he was an incredible Olympian himself, but then also coaching the pros and Olympic medalists, and just the way he interacted with the athletes, the way he always asked questions before he would give direction or a response was something I just was just soaking it up. It was such a
Yeah.
great opportunity to work with him.
So at the end of that stint, you felt you were ready.
Well, I went to Stanford and I was the associate head coach. So I started, Greg Meehan was the head coach. Going back in my story, Greg Meehan was the head coach at Pacific when I interviewed right out of high school,
Okay.
or college, sorry, college. And so we had developed a relationship and just connection there. He then went off to go be the assistant at Cal,
Okay.
and they were on the men's side and they were doing phenomenal. So when he got hired at Stanford, um, I was his first phone call, and it
He
was
pulled you along.
yeah, it was a great kind of a reconnection to be like, we
Yeah.
talked about this years ago, but look at what we've both done. You know what I mean? And now we can
Yeah.
bring that together at Stanford. And so it was a heck yeah moment.
What you accomplished there, three national championships in a row.
Yeah.
Like who does one, let alone three in a
Yeah.
row,
Yeah.
right? And then seven conference championships. I'm just looking back at your thing. But how was it to recruit Katie Ledecky? What was that like?
Oh,
Like,
uh,
did you know who she was going to be when she was
well,
that
she was
young?
already she was already an Olympic gold medalist by the time we were talking to her.
Okay.
So she was Katie Ledecky before for that. Stanford has a huge, just the academic side, right? And,
Yeah.
and swimmers in general, like because of the demand of the schedule, like you've got to be pretty organized and are usually pretty academic themselves. And so the academic piece pulled a lot in. But the athlete that was really the moment that solidified what we were doing there and where we were going. One, we inherited an incredible team that Lee Maurer had put together before that. So we had this incredible base. Stanford had a storied history of being a top program. So that culture was already built. And now we needed to come in and prove ourselves. And the first athlete that committed was Leah Neal. And she was from New York. She was an Olympian coming out of high school. And when she said yes to Stanford, and she said yes to Greg and I, that made it okay for these other big name athletes to look.
Yeah.
And to me, that was the key to Simone Manuel looking at Stanford, to Katie Ledecky coming over and looking at Stanford. Because now we had this culture
Yeah.
of people that were like,
Yeah.
yeah, I want to be great academically and in my sport and from the world
Yeah.
stage.
And they help you recruit,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Just their name alone helps you get people over. That's incredible. So what did you see? Did you see a difference in leadership and culture at Stanford than you did at Arizona and Texas A&M? Or how did you develop
Yeah.
as a leader as well?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. The Stanford athlete really pushed me. I remember when I first got there, they're super smart.
Yeah.
And not that the other athletes that I coach weren't, the culture there was different. These were the top in their academic
Yeah.
and the very top in their sport. And I remember when they come in in a practice environment and ask why. Well, why are we doing this? And I, at first, as a younger, I was like, I got defensive, right? I was like, what do you mean? You should be questioning me.
Yeah.
And then I realized, like, as this dynamic was coming, like, well, this isn't, feel good. I was like, they just really want to know.
They want to learn. They want
They
to
want to
know.
know why.
Yeah.
And so that challenged me to give the why. And so
Yeah.
I started coaching differently. And as I was giving a set or I was asking something challenging of them, I weaved the why we were doing it right into what was going on. And that instantly gave everybody like, okay, all right, I understand what we're doing here. And so I am so appreciative for that because it pushed me out of my comfort zone and made me a better coach for sure.
Yeah. So did you feel more pressure and more demands at Stanford than any other place? Because of the winning, it's just
Yeah,
you don't lose.
yeah. It wasn't until we won that I felt that. And I can't tell you why, but one of the goals I had for myself as a coach is I wanted to win a national championship. And I just had my eyes on the prize. I
Yeah.
was like, go and take really good care of these people. The results will come. Go take really good care of people and the results will come. And that was my focus. And when we won, it like just washed over me. I was like, oh my God, this wasn't about winning at all. This was about like the journey. But
Yeah.
I didn't realize that until I got there. And then once we were up there, that's when things started to feel wobbly. I was like, okay, now we got to stay here.
That's the hardest part.
Now we got to stay here. And that required a different skill set that what I brought to climbing. And I didn't
Mm.
realize that.
So what did you do different?
Whew. To be totally honest, I hired a coach
Okay. Now, did you
because
hire a coach as a coaching coach or a mental coach or both?
a leadership coach.
Okay.
Um, and that's kind of what got my foot in the door to,
Yeah.
6 years later, right? Um, but it was realizing that I was burning myself out, that I wasn't showing up as the best version of me. I was giving everything I had to my athletes, yet I was like, keep going. You got to prove yourself. You got to, prove you belong here. You got to, justify why you're here. You've got to stay here. People are coming to get you. Like that was not a healthy mindset for me as a
Yeah.
leader. And I needed to figure that out. Just like I wanted my athletes to be the best versions of them, I had to lean in and try to be the best version of me.
Yeah.
And working with a coach really helped me do that.
So what kind of things helped you when you were working with the coach?
Oof. One, pulling out that voice and
Okay.
being like, okay, girl, like, is this really helping you? And I'm like,
Yep.
well, no, but I thought it was the engine. I thought like talking like this to myself was why I was successful. And so self-compassion was a big piece of the puzzle for me. Self-compassion, being able to make a mistake, to get it wrong, and to have my response to myself be like, you silly human, keep going.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to learn versus what are you doing? You can't get it wrong. Don't make a mistake.
Yeah.
That energy was just not sustainable. And so that shift for me was huge, being able to lean into self-compassion and what that looked like in action. And then realizing that my capacity to be that much more self-compassionate towards others grew exponentially.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't unsee it.
So it's like once you started caring more about yourself, you're able to care about other people even more.
Yeah. Once I gave myself the it's okay to make a
Yeah.
mistake,
Right. Yeah.
right?
But you're
Then
not
I
allowed
was
to make mistakes as a coach, right?
right. We're supposed to have all
Yeah.
the answers all the
Yeah.
time.
Right. I
We're
know.
supposed to be certain.
It's crazy.
I know.
So then NIL's here, transfer portals here, social media, you know, how the heck did you deal with that?
Oh, well,
It,
I'll be honest. I got out
just in time.
just before that.
Okay.
Just before that. And
Well, you had social media though. I mean,
yeah,
the girls and the guys, they're all over filming, posting, and
yeah,
who's got more, whatever.
yeah. And I didn't, it was a yes, because like I was nervous about the mental side for the athletes. Like I knew the pressure to perform at the top level was already so steep. And now
Hmm.
you're adding in brand deals and incentives for which they should be paid for their performance. I definitely believe
I
that.
agree
But
with
I
that.
was more concerned about how that extra pressure on them during this phase when they're just learning how to deal with all this stuff was going
Yeah.
to be. So that was my number one concern. Um, and to be fair, like I got out in the May of 2023, and it was kind of this stuff was just starting to come.
Kick in. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel for them, and I feel for coaches in it as well because it's an added element that to an already pressure-filled environment.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of coaches that are giving up their profession because of it.
Yeah.
They're, I don't want to say old school, but they
Yeah.
don't want to deal with the new stuff. That
Yeah.
is it really coaching anymore, or how much are we paying you and giving you? Whereas years ago, it was like, what are you going to bring to the team?
Yeah.
Now it's what's the school going to do for you? What's the
Yeah.
team going to do? What are the boosters going to do? The NIL money. It's insane.
Yeah. And it is. And if we take all of our energy and focus on that, then we get so far away from the reason we did this in the first
Yeah,
place.
right.
And that's where I go back to my why, which is impact. The coaches I had when I was young changed the trajectory of my life.
Yeah,
And I still believe that there is a space for that here.
yeah,
And so, we as coaches, yes, there's so much noise going on. There's so many things, but what can we do? How can we
yeah,
show up to support these athletes that have the dream to be at the very best,
yeah,
as they move through the college years?
yeah. So you must have been reading my mind because my next question was around your why,
Mm.
right? Now you have a different why,
Hmm.
right? But you were at the peak of swimming,
Yeah.
coaching,
Hmm.
and you say, okay, no more. I'm going to branch out. I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to become an executive coach. I'm going to coach the best of the best.
Yeah.
What was the motivation around that? And how did you reconnect with your new why?
New and the same. And
Okay.
I'll take us through there. But once I did the work with my coach and I was operating through this place of my values, which is
Hmm.
connection, accountability, growth, and service, and I was giving myself self-compassion and I was just feeling lighter in that position, still the same actions come out of that, right? I'm still
Yeah.
working hard for my athletes every day. I still have the same pressures, but my operating system was different.
Okay.
And this voice, it was like, who's coaching the coaches? And it started out as a whisper and it just got louder and louder and louder. And this was a time when I was getting phone calls from athletic directors to interview to be the head coach, right? I had the opportunities and I just didn't see the support I would have wanted
Yep.
if I took that step. So I did the scariest thing I've ever done and I stepped to the left. And it was gnarly. It did not happen overnight. It was years in the making. Um, and I jumped in and I said, I'm gonna answer that question. I'm gonna build what I would have wanted if I was in that
Yeah.
position. And so,
So what was night one like?
oh
When you're laying there in bed thinking, what did I do?
yeah, it
Yeah.
was a lot, right? I had to kind of like bet on myself.
Yeah.
And night one actually felt like a big relief
Okay.
because the build to get there was so many sleepless nights. Are you going to do this? You know you should do this. Like my impact was such a huge part of my why. Once I thought about, well, who's supporting the coaches? it's really important that we're the best versions of ourselves so that we can then support the athletes. I couldn't
Yeah.
unsee that. And so the exponential opportunity for impact, if I started to work with coaches and support coaches in this way, was something I couldn't unsee. And yeah, I had to bet on myself.
So what was that transition like to go from a coach
Mhm.
to now I'm coaching the best coaches?
Well, I leaned on, similar. I wasn't going to pretend to be something I wasn't.
Yep.
Yes, I had 17 years of collegiate experience and at the highest level, but I needed to go learn the leadership side of it. And so I did a program at Stanford Graduate School of Business, the executive program in women's leadership, and invested in myself and stood shoulder to shoulder with 40 women from all over the world, top of their field, and just dove into the education and research behind
You couldn't
leadership.
start at a smaller program and work your way up. You got to go right to the top,
You're
right?
you're getting on how I think.
Yeah.
Um, and then, a coaching certification. And so I did my research. This world over here in coaching, like anyone can jump on LinkedIn and say they're a coach.
Yeah.
So I learned quickly, like, okay, what's the gold standard? The ICF, International Coaching Federation. There's a ton of different training programs under the umbrella of the ICF. So I spent hours and hours trying to find the right one that fit for me. And with my target audience in mind, right? I knew who I wanted to serve from this role. And so when I came across Brown University's program in leadership and performance coaching under ACT leadership, that hit the spot. Leadership and performance. It wasn't one without the other when I thought of the people I wanted to serve. So I jumped into that certification program.
Was it
And
hard? What do they make you do? Were you in front of
oh,
groups? What did they make you do?
yeah. So it was, an 8 months intensive program,
8 months.
8
Wow.
months. And I did it virtually. I did it on East Coast time because I'm an early morning person. So I was like on Zoom at 5 in the morning. Um, but that's
Great.
that's more like my swimming habits run deep. Um, and there was a lot of unlearning that had to be done, and it wasn't comfortable when
Mm,
I was learning the structure of what this kind of coaching is and what real transformational change looks like from the neuroscience behind it.
yeah.
And Brown did an incredible job of show us, teach us, and then let us do. And so that system kind of went over and over and over again. And so I started coaching people. And I remember making my first, connections to be like, okay, can I coach? Because you have to get hours. And at
Yeah.
first it was like just practice coaching.
You had to go find your own people to coach.
Yeah. The
Okay.
very first weekend of training, we had to have a client on the other side
A
ready to go.
paid client or just anybody that will listen?
Anybody, right?
Okay.
Anybody that would listen. We could only have so many hours that were unpaid, but like,
Okay.
so you just had to dive in and just trust yourself. And it was scary. Um, but I picked it up quickly. There were definitely some crossover, but then there was some unlearning that had to happen.
Yeah.
I realized the coaching that I had done up until that point was more mentorship, more giving advice, more telling.
Hmm.
Um, and this kind of coaching was completely different. This was asking questions. This was diving deep into who this person was. This was, you are the expert on yourself.
Yeah.
Let's shine the light on what you're not seeing.
And you're pulling stuff out of people
Pulling
now.
stuff out, question after
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
I like the metaphor of you can't read the label from inside the jar,
Hmm. That's pretty cool.
right? And so, I'm now the person that can like help to shine the light on what the
Yeah.
label is on the outside, right? Because there's so much going on. There's so much noise. How can we quiet the noise? So that was a huge program for me in setting the foundation and giving me the structure to build this coaching practice off of. And yeah, over 100 hours of coaching and exams and live coaching seminars. And yeah, it was a lot.
I'm so glad you're bringing that up because you're right. Anybody can go LinkedIn or go to some internet and say, okay, slap a title, I'm good. But
Mhm.
it's no different than swimming. I watch the Olympics. People jump in the pool, they swim, they win, they lose, it's over. We don't know what goes on behind the scenes, how much time, energy, effort, and work goes into that pool or goes into what you've done to become an executive coach. They just think, oh, maybe just woke up one day, you wanted to do it, you
Yeah.
know, and that's what nobody knows.
Yeah.
That's what nobody understands until somebody like you, as we are talking about the videos, we were talking about
Yeah.
the, right? Is until you get that word out there, of how much work you've put in.
Yeah.
And then when people hear the work, then they say, hey, I want to work with her,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So that's incredible. Would you say 100
Over,
hours?
yeah, you had to have at least 100 hours to even take the exam.
Wow, that's
And
big
only 25 of those hours can be unpaid. So you have to start learning how to ask
for money.
for money. Um,
Oh boy, that
so
sounds great. So, so what kind of struggles have you faced yourself? I mean, you've only been doing this for about 2.5 years now,
yeah.
right?
Hmm.
So I watch the stuff you put out. I think you do a phenomenal job. Even though we're all nervous behind the scenes, you can't tell with you,
No,
you know.
thank you.
But what kind of struggles have you had, from day one till
Yep.
now, and what's behind you?
The highs and lows of building a business on your own. You're feeling good one day and the next day it's like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? You know how many times I went on to LinkedIn and started looking at jobs because I was like, girl, come on.
Yeah.
But just I kept staying focused on my why and believe in what I wanted to do. And I have this little post-it on my desk and it says, keep going. And
Mm.
that was my, okay, this is going to be hard.
Now,
Um,
what made you write that down? Did you just hear something, or out of nowhere in your mind you thought of it and wrote it down?
well, it was just this little mantra that came in when any time I got like derailed. I was like, no, 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 come back, keep going, keep going, keep going. And it just is a help for a minute that this is hard. I've never run a business before. There's parts of this that I'm still learning today. And I just got more comfortable with the fact that I was new. I was new at this and I was going to be things that I knew and things that I didn't, but I trusted that I could figure it out. The thing that stayed consistent were my values of connection, accountability, growth, and service. And when those first few coaches got into the program and I was charging the rate that I deserved at that point, and seeing the transformational change and hearing the feedback and the testimonial from them, and then now they're recommending me to other people, that was the keep
Yeah.
going, Trace. Like
Yeah.
you're doing this, this matters. Um, to now where, I still have days where, it feels like, okay, the business side feels heavy, but the work itself it's light and it's bright and I can't deny that this is exactly where I'm supposed to be.
So you don't have to answer this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Hmm.
How did it feel to get paid for that? Was that like
It's a
a aha moment? Like, holy smokes.
it's a it's something you grow into, but knowing your value is important.
Yeah.
This is valuable. This changed the trajectory of my life when I did it. I know that feeling. There isn't a day that goes by that I don't think of something or lean on something that my coach taught me in the 18 months that I worked with them. When I think back of how influential that was, I would have paid double.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is transformational change.
Yeah. Isn't that awesome?
It's incredible.
Yeah. And it's not, what else makes it, I think, even better is when you see the results in the people you're working with, you're
Yeah.
like, hey, I had something to do with that,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know,
it's the moment when you're with someone and they realize they've had the answers inside of them the whole time.
and you help them find it
I I will show up every day for
every
them.
day. Yeah. Yeah. That's so cool. So when's the book coming out?
I can't even. I've got enough on my plate right now.
It's coming.
Um,
You have probably a couple of books in you.
I think you said that the first time we talked too, Jeff.
Yeah.
I'll just leave that one and never say never when it feels right. That was one thing when I first started this. I talked to somebody who left coaching and started her own business in nutrition, um, Erica Barney, and she started Barney Wellness. And I said, "How did you do it? What did you know? What can you tell me?" And she said, "You'll know what to say yes to."
Mm, it's big,
Big. So I hear you say book, and I don't know yet.
right?
But
Well, you're not saying no.
I'm not saying no, but I don't know yet. And
I
that
think you have two books. You have a coaching book and for the sport and
yeah.
coaching book for the leadership.
Uh, well, again, I'm gonna just sit back and trust that when it feels right to say yes to that, I will.
Okay. So there's people listening are saying, this woman has got some really neat stuff. How do they connect to you? How do they find you? What can they do to get you to you?
Yeah, my website. I'm also, as you said, I'm on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn. My website is tracyslusser.com. My link for a free consultation is right there. Grab it. I love to connect with people. My target audience are coaches. I do work with other high performance leaders in other industries as well. Um, but yeah, grab a spot. I'd love to talk.
Good. Well, I hope that your phone or your email is ringing off the hook. Everybody's going into your website, but I don't want to say you're not new at coaching. You've been coaching for a long time. You've just changed your focus of coaching,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I hope you have another 50 years of this. But just like you've mentioned some of your coaches from the past, that person has left some sort of legacy behind.
Hmm.
There's going to come a day where you have this legacy. When
Hmm.
people hear your name, they're going to say, "Hey, Tracy, wow, this."
Yeah.
When that day comes and your name comes up in a conversation, how do you want to be remembered with all the people you've touched?
Mm, great question. I want to be remembered for the way I made people feel, that
Mm.
I made them feel seen, that I made them feel heard, um, that I made them feel like they weren't alone.
You probably make them feel really good.
That's my hope. Yeah, this is it's a journey, and feeling like you have a place to put everything down and just show up as yourself and see what comes up is is really special. And I like to think that I create that space with my coaching clients
That's great.
and everybody I interact with.
Yeah, everybody you touch. So Tracy, we covered a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
We talked about growing up, going out of high school, going to college, coming out of college, going into all your coaching stops, and now your business and the impact you're making on so many people.
Hmm.
And that's what I think a lot of people forget is as a sports coach, right? And this question I didn't answer, you probably should have, is how many people have you coached over your career that are now coaches?
Oh, I love that you just asked. So I just did a leadership workshop with a group of women, all swim coaches, and some relationship to the sport. And it was a group of 7 women, and I met them in Holland, Michigan, at a beautiful home on the lake. And we did a half day workshop together. And of those 7 women, three, three of them I coached collegiately, and it's just it's so special to see them growing into
Yeah, yeah,
themselves in this career path.
yeah,
And they were started to share some stories of like, oh, you said this, and as a coach, you're like, oh God, I don't remember, right? So you have no
yeah,
clue what's come out of their mouth. But it was so special to connect with them and
yeah.
for those stories that they remembered of back when I was coaching them.
But I wonder how many men and women you've coached that are coaching something now. It could be
Yeah,
college, could be high school, could be camp, could
yeah,
be whatever. There's got to be a ton.
yeah.
And how cool would it be to put that tree together?
Right? No, you're getting me to think.
You
Yeah,
know?
there's definitely I can think of at least a good handful, maybe two,
Yeah.
of former athletes that are out there coaching.
It's probably more than that. You don't even know it. You know?
Probably.
You know? So, Tracy, is there anything we haven't covered you think we should hit before we wrap it up?
We hit a lot. I
Yeah.
mean, and I appreciate the opportunity to go back. I don't go back much for the beginning to the journey to the end, but I look at this as like this is my love story with
Yeah.
sport, and every chapter has been super intentional and super it kind of built upon the next one. And the chapter that I'm currently in is something that feels more aligned than anything I've ever done, and I'm excited to be in it.
Well, we can see the smile on your face when you talk about it, which
I
is
can't
great.
help it.
That's good. Well, Tracy, thank you for being on the show. I appreciate it. And I can't wait to see all the things you continue to do and develop and the people you impact and keep making those videos because you do a really good job.
Oh,
And
thank you.
let's get the word out.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Jeff.
All right. Well, stay strong.
All right, thanks. Take care.